In concept 16, the law of cosines, we are going to look at triangles where we have side angle side or side 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 and solve them for each of the sides that are missing and the angles that are missing. So we have the formula a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. So notice that we have the three sides and then we have the cosine of an angle. And we can solve for any one of those things. If we look at b squared and c squared, it's just switching out which sides we're using and which angle we're using. So in each formula, we have a squared and a cosine of a, and we have b squared and cosine of b and c squared and cosine of c. So we know what we're solving for. So let's look at number 1. I'm going to leave that up there. First I'm going to draw a triangle. It's not going to be to scale and it's not going to be perfect. So I'm going to have A, B, and C as my angles. And then across from A I have little a as the side, across from B is little b for its side, and across from C is little c. So then I can use one of the formulas. So if I have the angle measure of C and I'm missing the side C, let's go ahead and use c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. So in our triangle, we know the angle is 32.2, but we don't know the side c. So let's go ahead and plug in what we know. So we have c squared equals, and we know that A is 8, and we know that B is 5, and we know that C is 32.2. So let's go ahead and plug it in. So A squared is 8 squared plus B squared, which is 5 squared, minus 2 times A times B times the cosine of C, which is 32.2. And then I can go ahead and solve for C. So I have c squared equals an a squared plus 5 squared minus, I can just put all of that in the calculator, and c squared is going to be 21.3, and then c is the square root of that, which is 4.6, because I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So now I know that c is 4.6. So I have all the sides, I just don't have all the angles. So if I find one more angle, I can actually find the third, because we know they all add up to 180. So let's go ahead and use the a squared formula. So we're going to use this one. And I know that a squared, so 8 squared equals, and then I have c, which is 4.6, whoops, I'll just do 4.6 squared plus b squared, which is 5 squared minus 2 times 4.6 times 5 times cosine. And in this case, the cosine, we have a squared here, so I have to see cosine of a, because those two need to match. And then I can do my math. So this is 64. And if I do 4.6 squared plus 5 squared, I get 46.25 minus 2 times 4.6 times 5 becomes 46 times cosine of A. And then I can subtract 46.25 from 64, and I have 17.75 equals negative 46 cosine of A. And then I'm going to divide by negative 46. And I get negative 0.385 equals my cosine of A. So if I take the inverse cosine of negative 0.39, I will get my angle A. And A is equal to 112.7 degrees. So then if I have 112.7 and I add 32.2, then I get the total is 144.9, and I subtract 180 minus 144.9, and I get that angle B is 35.1 degrees. So I have angle B, I have angle A, I have C, and I'm done. Go ahead, pause the video and try number 2. In number 2, we have a triangle. We have A, B, C, and then across from A we have little a, little b, little c. And I know that A is 8, B is 9, and C is 7. So then I have to go and find one of the angles. So let's go ahead and use c squared. So I have c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b times cosine of c. And then I'm going to solve. So this is 49. 8 squared plus 9 squared is 145 minus 2 times 8 times 9 is 144. Cosine of c. I subtract 144 and I get negative 96 equals negative 144 cosine of c. And then I divide by negative 144 and I get 0.66 repeating, and that equals cosine of c. And then if I do the inverse cosine of 0.66, so where is the cosine? 2/3. Then I get the angle C. So C is equal to 48.2 degrees. And then I can use that angle later on to find out what my other angles would be. So let's go ahead and we're going to shift up a little bit. And we're going to use b squared to find the angle B. So I have b squared is 9 squared equals 8 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 8 times 7 times cosine of letter B. Because I used the side as 9 and I get the angle B. So if I square that, I get 9 squared is 81 equals 8 squared plus 64 squared. And I get that is 113 minus 2 times 8 times 7 is 112 cosine of B. And then I subtract 113, I get negative 32 equals negative 112 cosine of B. And then I divide by negative 112. And I get 0.286 equals cosine of B. And then I take the inverse cosine of 0.286 and I get the angle B. And B is equal to 73.4 degrees. So now I have angle B, 73.4, plus I also have angle C, which is 48.2. And I subtract that from 180. And I get 58.4 degrees for angle A. Go ahead and do number 3 and 4 for homework. Now we're going to go ahead and look at a story problem and using law of cosines. In this example, the triangle is already drawn for us. It's probably not to scale either, but we're going to use it. If a hiker is averaging 2.5 miles an hour, how long will it take him to travel? So I am looking at how long it will take him. That's what I'm looking at. It's going to take him 2.5 miles an hour. Now I just need to find out how far the cave is to the waterfall. So let's go ahead and figure that out. We have, let's see, we have A, we have B, we need to find C. So that means this is A, this is B, and this is C. So let's go ahead and use C squared because we know the angle C and we know A and B. So let's go ahead and plug it in. So we don't know C, so C squared equals A squared, which is 3, B squared, which is 4, minus 2 times A times C times cosine of C, big C, which is 71.7. Make sure your calculator is in degrees when we're doing these. So then let's go ahead and solve. So we have C squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared is 25, minus 2 times 3 times 4, which is 24, cosine of 71.7. And I get c squared equals, and I can go ahead and put in 25 minus 24 cosine of 71.7, and I get 17.46. And then if I square root that to get c, c is 4.17. And if I have 4.17 miles, oops, my decimal point right there, divided by, I'm going 2.5 miles per hour, and that will give me how many hours? So I have 1.7, because I rounded to the nearest tenth of an hour, 1.7 hours to get from the cave to the waterfall. Go ahead and do number 1 for homework.